Gotta go. Yeah, I'll call you back. I'm with that Realtor lady.
Welcome to the Realtor Lady. I'm Michele Replogle. Welcome to my podcast, The Realtor Lady. You're with Michele Replogle and my guest, Pam Samuelson, Miss Delaware. You know, that park, this Anza mobile home park gets so many phone calls. I think every realtor just gets how many millions of phone calls. I don't get
They
it.
hate me.
I just have your number now.
That's what everybody does. Just call Pam. They're like, Pam, how do you do it? And I know how to filter. It takes time though.
You know, your tagline and your signature of your email should be just call Pam.
Yeah. Call Miss Delaware.
Oh, Miss Delaware. Oh, there we go. I mean, I kind of know the story, but maybe if you explain the park, the rent control, the lack of rent control and how that worked, then the park is a little easier to understand. So I think you should.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a very unique park. Years ago, I think it's been 23 or 24 years ago, there was rent control in that park. And at the time, those homes were worth probably about $350,000 and the space rents were about $350 a month. So very reasonable. The park sold, company from Chicago purchased it, and the city of Santa Cruz fought viciously to keep the rent control. And the buyer had deeper pockets than we did basically. And so we had to kind of throw up our hands in Santa Cruz and say, okay, we can't fight anymore. It was costing the city too much money. So what in turn happened is the new owners took over and they were able to determine what space rents they wanted to charge each homeowner. There's 200 spaces in the park. So that's what would happen. And after that change and that purchase, you couldn't give homes away in that park because people are like $2,000 a month for rent or $2,500 a month. That's ludicrous. And homes really were worth nothing. And I really don't really know how long that went on for. I'm going to say 4 years, 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years.
Were people abandoning those homes? Were they just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we have to remember, and I'm sorry I didn't say this at the beginning, is this is an oceanfront park. Mm-hmm. I mean, and really to pay $350 a month to be.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
But that was 20 something years ago. So I always say if those homes had rent control now, there would be $1.5 million homes. And the space rent was $500 or $600 a month. So you pay for it monthly rather than going in now. Right. So that's why the prices are so cheap, because the space rents are so high, or higher, I should say.
And it's kind of your bread and butter. Do you think those rents are fair, or do you think that's just what they think they can get?
I used to say they're not fair, but now, because Santa Cruz it's a resort town, we're on the coast, and our monthly or our rents are so high in Santa Cruz, and our home prices have gone up so much, it's almost making Anza look like a pretty good deal. So where could you live so close to the ocean, literally hear the waves from your home, in a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home for $3,000 a month? Now the home might have cost you $150,000 to purchase, but that's not too much. And then if you pay $3,000 a month, where are you going to buy in Santa Cruz, or where are you going to rent in Santa Cruz that close to the ocean with those amenities that park has to offer at that price? So it's becoming more and more reasonable, or I can justify it more, and people get it. So I get many inquiries a day where people are like, I had a call about an hour ago that goes, oh, is it on the market still? I go, yeah. He goes, well, we want to buy it. I said, well, hold on now. And there are certain websites that the public uses that don't disclose the monthly space rent that I disclose through the MLS. So I get a lot of calls. I have to filter them. So I think the rents now are easier. They're easier to justify for that reason. So, I mean, if you have $50,000, $30,000, it depends on the price of the home to purchase, you can pay cash or you can get a loan and afford that space rent. It's a beautiful, wonderful community.
Can you talk a little bit about the age? I always get a little confused about the age restrictions, because there's some of them are rented and they're clearly younger people.
Yeah, so it's really a 55 plus community. So one owner has to be 55 years of age, and any other permanent residents have to be 18 years of age or older.
That's different. It's totally
different. But in addition to that, The park reserves 20% of the spaces, which is a total of 40, to be as young as 40 years old to purchase in the park instead of 55. And then any additional occupants have to be 18 years of age or older. So just in a nutshell, if most 55 plus communities, everybody has to be 55 or close to it. So De Anza is unique in that way.
Okay.
Yeah, so most parks would want to, that would be a family park because it's they're younger. But as long as they're 18 years of age or older and there's an occupant at least 40 years old or older in the home, it's okay.
What are some unique features of the park? I told one in there. The clubhouse is amazing.
One of the unique features of that park, of course, is location. It speaks for itself. It's at the end of Delaware, behind a gated electronic gate, and you meander through this beautiful park, and then there's the ocean. So they're not all oceanfront, but it's an oceanfront community. So the location speaks for itself. The amenities of the park are like none other mobile home park in Santa Cruz. And by the way, there's 101 in Santa Cruz County. So you have an oceanfront year-round heated swimming pool that is heated as warm as a bathtub every day of the year, a jacuzzi, outdoor kitchen, a huge clubhouse with an oceanfront kitchen that is free to any owner in the park. They just need to put themselves on a calendar and they can reserve it at no cost. If you have book club one night or you have a family birthday party, I mean, to be in this huge clubhouse that's cleaned and it's maintained by the park, there's chairs and tables and there's a kitchen to use at no cost is really nice. Plus there's a workout facility there.
And are they letting you use that right now or is that all closed up?
No, it's available to the owners, not the clubhouse, but just the pool, and I think just the pool and jacuzzi are available to the owners of the park, but no additional family members or guests or anything.
What do you see for 2021? I mean, with COVID and you do have older people trying to think about moving, buying or selling. What are you seeing in terms of?
Yeah. So in 2020, I had 21 sales in that park, which is unheard of. I attribute that to, well, we had our fires here in Santa Cruz, which were devastating to so many people. So a lot of people were looking for homes. So they either rented if there was a vacancy, like a vacant listing, or they purchased in the park for the time being because it was so hard to find a rental. And then so many people are working from home now that they want to have a nice home and a nice area to live in. So that really helped my sales in that park. And I think also our price of homes and how much our rents are here in Santa Cruz, like I mentioned previous, have attributed to that. I foresee in 2021 a very strong year in that park. I have just talked to a client today. I've got his coming on in a few months. I've probably got about a half a dozen looming right now that they're getting them ready, and they're either parents who need to move out or they need to move on or something. So I have some sales listings coming up in that park. Right now, I have one. Another agent has another, which is really unusual. Last year in March, I had 12 listings, and then COVID hit, so it was just kind of just slow for a while. It was just like idle. And then about a month and a half, 2 months later, well, they started moving, and by September, October, I think I was down to 2 listings.
Yeah, it was a busy year.
Yeah, it's an amazing, beautiful community. The people are wonderful. I can sell there easily because I truly love it. I really love the people.
Have you ever found one that you want to move into? Like, you know what? I think I could do this one.
Oh yeah, I do, but I don't really want to pay that space rent, really. But I was actually, I know there was one I had a dream about. One actually it was number 200, and I had a dream that the park gave it to me, and it was my little beach home, but that was really just a dream. So I just think it'd be so nice just to have a little place.
You told them they should give you one, didn't you, after that?
I did. Yeah, we actually talked to her. Well, just give it. Well, I go, I'll buy it, but I just want to have to pay space rent. They go, yeah, that doesn't work that way. So I just kind of thought, well, maybe because I sold somebody in that park, they might make an exception for me, but they didn't. Maybe they will, but I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, anything else you can think of when you think about the park that you want people to know? Because you'll be able to use this recording to talk about the park and make sure that they have the information. I mean, it might be a great time saver for you too.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. I know that there's different rents in different areas, it's like zoned.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make that much sense to me. Some of them have fairly decent views and their rent is not as high, and some I don't.
Yeah. But really, in a nutshell, the space rents are dictated by pretty much their proximity to the ocean. So most of the homes that are facing Delaware, for example, with no views, run about $2,300, $2,400 a month. As you skirt the side of the park, you might have a view of natural bridges or a teeny peak or Long's Marine Lab. You're not sandwiched in the middle of the park. Then the rents go up to about $3,000. On the lagoon, they're about 35, 36. Oceanfront, $4,700 a month.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's really just proximity to the ocean and views. I sold 5 oceanfront homes alone last year in the park, and that's $4,700 a month they pay. My clients love it. They are so happy.
Wow.
So I tell people it's not a place you really purchase for investment purposes to make money. It's a lifestyle. So if you, a time in your life, you want to just like, I don't care, I want to live near the ocean, I want to live near the beach. And then De Anza is a great choice because it's a lifestyle. And the community, the people are wonderful. I know so many people in there and they're happy, and it's a safe park, and it's on the west side, and the amenities speak for itself. Yeah, I just think if you want to live, have ocean living, Santa Cruz, we have our beaches. And if you want to live independently in an independent home, not be in a condo that has a view like that, or in a large home that many people can't afford, then De Anza is an alternative.
Yeah, it's also the maintenance too. There's a little bit less maintenance.
A lot less maintenance, and the park does maintain the common areas, of course, and then the clubhouse and all that. So you basically just maintain your home and enjoy that lifestyle. And like I say, it's easy for me to sell in that park because I really, really love it. And when I first took when I first took my listing in there, probably 10, 12 years ago, the gentleman called me. I don't know where he got my name from. And he said, hey, would you come list my home? And I was like, oh God, I don't want to sell in that park. And I was like, it'll be wasting my time. So he was so nice. So I thought, okay, I'll meet you. So I went and met him, and it was number 49, and it needed a lot of work, but he was a really nice gentleman. And I listed it. I think I sold it for $30,000 or $35,000. And the person that bought it, they put in near 400,000, probably 350 to 375 in upgrades. They kept the home, but they just completely upgraded. It was gorgeous when they were done. And they lived there for years. They knew that they weren't going to get their money out, or most of it, but when they sold it, it ended up selling for 367,000. So they didn't do too bad. So people want that ocean front living. They want that coastal lifestyle. It's not for everybody. It's a unique community.
Right. Yeah. I mean, are there parts that you can kind of feel like you live privately there? Like, do you always feel like you have neighbors or?
No, it's pretty private. I mean, people are respectful. They pretty much keep to themselves. And I always tell my clients, you can get in a normal world, not the COVID world, but you can get as involved in that community as you want, or you can sit back and just do your own thing. They do have a quarterly brochure they send out, and there's Cinco de Mayo barbecue, there's a Thanksgiving dinner, there's cards on this night, or there's yoga this night, and there's a lot of activities. So you can participate, but if you don't want to, it's okay too.
That's kind of cool. They put on activities.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the park manager lives there on site. They have a maintenance guy, runs around. They just redid the lagoon. There was some work that needed to be done. So the park pays for that. They took care of that. The park maintains all the driveways, all the roads, the electronic gate. Basically, you have to maintain your home and your existing yard. And it's pretty nice.
I was just in the last podcast with Greg when we were talking about keys. It's one of my first mobile home showings. I was standing on the deck and trying to open the door and drop the key down the deck. And it was completely enclosed.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I've had that story too. And was that in De Anza?
No, it was on the 30th.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you couldn't get in the house. I've got a good story. It was number 151. My clients were super excited to move in. I sold their house in Midtown. They bought this beautiful oceanfront new home in De Anza. Amazing location. And I had it cleaned that day. I had a cleaner come through, and I was excited to meet my client after work. She after work that day to give her keys. Well, we went to get the key out of the lockbox, and the key wasn't in the lockbox. So I called the cleaner, where's the key? She goes, well, I put it on the counter in the kitchen and I locked the door. I'm like, no. So I'm like, the window was open just a tad. So I just hoofed myself up and climbed through the window, and, I had to get her in. So anyway, that's kind of a fun little story, but yeah, we all have. And then now as agents, and we have to not only juggle our phones, conversation, our listing paperwork. Now we have to juggle our masks and all the other stuff that we've got going on. So yeah, if we drop a key or something always happens. So
one of my first listings was a mobile home, and they moved out. They moved into their next house that I sold them, and they took everything, the light bulbs, the toilet paper.
Oh my God.
I mean, they just took everything. And they were like in Boulder Creek, and I'm like, drive down here and you have to bring the light bulbs back.
Yeah.
And one after that, I previewed the property with the seller, a close family friend, and everything looked great. I wasn't really kind of catching anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I took the listing, and I was going to I think I did broker tour or open house. Well, turns out the cat had peed on every single piece of furniture in that whole house. I mean, we pulled the couch back from like the wall. It had enough room, and she was older, and it was just like sprayed on there like graffiti. And then I had to sit there because I advertised the open house, so I had to sit in it. It was
oh God, I know. I think all of us realtors, it's not a glamorous job, and sometimes things we have to do is not very glamorous. But I love what I do. I love selling in Anza, and you know what? It really is my
calling.
Yeah, well, it kind of is. I never thought it would be, but my company, Coldwell Banker, gave me a banner called Miss Delaware. So they kind of nicknamed me Miss Delaware. And you know what? I'm proud to say that. In fact, at Christmas time this year, I went driving through at night. It was just when it got dark. And I was so glad I did. It was so beautiful. It was all lit up with white lights. All the trees had white lights. It was gorgeous. And the mobile homes were cutely decorated. And it's just super, super sweet community. And some people don't know it exists. People out of town don't know it exists. And, so when I'll send them I have a drone video of it, and I send them the drone video. They're like, oh my God, that is amazing. So once they can justify and digest the rents, then they're like, okay, well, then that makes sense. If you're going to live in Santa Cruz, it's, that close to the ocean is going to cost a little bit of money. So
you do the math in Santa Cruz. I think that pencil out. Funny stories, goofy stories, goofy buyers, sellers.
For me?
Yeah. In the park, any funny situations?
Well, it was kind of weird. I had to go crawling through the lady's window. We had some little hiccups with some boundary line adjustments, and people are like, no, this is my space. This is my space.
Not too much.
And it's pretty smooth.
People there, because I've overheard some of your conversations, and you don't have to elaborate, but I've heard some conversations. I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, I get a lot of phone calls, a lot of calls, and sometimes it can be overwhelming how many times my phone rings or how many emails I get on a daily basis that people are really excited. I had a call, like I said, an hour ago. The guy goes, I want to buy it. I go, now look, you got to know what the space is. Like, well, what's that? And then I thought I was buying it. You have to pay, so people that are not used to lease land parks don't understand that concept. 3 kinds of mobile home parks, and lease land is one park, and that's Anza. I have repeat clients in there. I've sold one 4 times over the course of the years. And I have some really special people that live in that park that I really, really care about. I'm trying to think any specific stories that would be. My crawling through the window wasn't very glamorous, but it was fun. And I kind of go through there, and I always see people I know. I always am running into people. Because I just have sold so many there. So
cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, but you know what? My wheels started spinning there, and I know you'll probably go on for a while, but at some point you're going to have to train a protege.
Yeah, I know. So
will he? No.
Yeah, I know. Really? Yeah. Yeah. And I'm good for right now. I'm still good in that park. I've been selling there for probably 12 years now. So I can handle the volume. I mean, there's times where I have 5 or 6 going at the same time, but I know the park management really well. I know the park rules and regulations, so I can just rattle off things so quickly. And, there's other agents that sell in that park as well. But I do it. It's easy for me, and I enjoy it. And like I say, it's kind of my meat and potatoes. It helps pay for my kids' tuitions for college. And not to mention, that park brings me other business. So one good story is I was showing a very nice couple from Danville, one of the oceanfront homes, and they were crazy. They liked it. They liked the location, but they said, well, gosh, we kind of want something different. They pointed over to Westcliff Drive and they said, do you sell homes on Westcliff Drive by any chance? I go, yeah, I do. I sell homes on Westcliff Drive. So I showed them some homes and I sold them a condo on Westcliff, a real beautiful condo for $1.5 million. So it does lead to other business, and or their children are need to buy a house or sell or something. So one family I've sold 3 homes for in that park, and so it leads to other business, and I can do it pretty much with my eyes closed, I always say, but I really enjoy it.
That's really cool. I was just thinking back, I think I had 9 escrows going at one time last year, which is my old high, and very scary. It's like,
that's a lot.
It's always running. You sleep, but you're running in your sleep.
Yeah.
9 mobile homes for you is probably fine, but I had septics and I had condos and HOAs and
right.
I mean, and one of them was different. I had one that was kind of on a hilltop, so we had to talk to somebody about erosion. You know what I mean? And just like you're just conditions, and it felt kind of soothing to just have a lay of the land and know everything about it.
That's so true, because like they're all in sewer that's connected. There's not, you don't have the water conservation. It doesn't apply to mobile home parks. You don't have the sewer lateral in a mobile home park. So it's very simple, and there are park rules and regulations. And there's also, buyers have to go through a park approval process, which can take as much as short as 2 hours, or it can take a few days, depends on how quickly a buyer can get their information to the park management. But it's like you said, you're not dealing with any hillsides, septics, sewer lateral, any of that. So it doesn't take as much time. You don't make as much money. So I charge a flat fee for the lower end mobile homes, because I have to make some money, and I have to pay a buyer's agent for their hard work as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much. That was really informative. Yeah. I think that park is, once I sold one in there, I actually sold one in there and spent some time there. I was just really blown over. Of course, it was during a time of the year that I was never there on a sunny day, so I didn't see it in its glory.
I remember the one you sold. It was beautiful.
Gray, though. It was so gray. I think even the pictures are gray. We tried to, but
I remember that one. I sold it after I sold again. Yeah. And so it's there's different views, and there's different, just unique park. But once people go through it, or they read about it, or they see the proximity, then they get interested if they can afford it.
I think we're really lucky to have you, though. There was another realtor that worked in there. I will not name her, who was just kind of a nutty person. I think we're lucky to have you representing that park. The park does not know what they have with you at all. Because the thing is, you're very honest, and you're not selling people on something that isn't true, and then they get in there and they make everybody miserable for it, right?
Right.
The management. You're very honest and upfront with them. They know everything going in. That makes them a better neighbor. They should call it Pam's house or Pam's community, because you're kind of building a community.
I've had so many people go, Pam, do you live here? Do you live here in the park? Don't you? Where do you live? I go, no, I actually don't, but I should. And every time I sell one, I think,
you say, yeah, I live over there.
Yeah. But that's when I thought to the park, I told the park, God, I should just live here. I do love it. I do. It's very sweet, but I live not too far from there. So
I don't know. You're so involved. It might be better that you don't live there, to be honest.
That it would probably be a little much. Yeah. It's very sweet. And I have some of my dear clients live in that park. So I really love it. I truly love it, or I wouldn't be selling in there.
That's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and helping me get this going.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you for listening. If you want to talk more, find me on livethesantacruzlife.com, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, or give me a call. My number's in the show notes. Love to hear from you.